It's finally done, guys. The living room is done. In this video, I'm going to show you how I install the white oak slats to hide this hidden door. First part of this process is to apply the 1/4 inch white oak panel onto the wall, which meant I had to break down these larger sheets into the correct sizes. For the right side panel, I had to cut out a few slots for the shelf bracket as well as the electrical outlet. I laid out the lines and used my multi-tool to cut out the area. And then I'll take it to the table saw to do the final trimming. To attach the panels onto the wall, I'm using construction adhesive as well as some pin nails. I'm pretty liberal with the construction adhesive. I want to make sure that a lot of the surface is covered. And also I went ahead and add the construction adhesive onto the wall itself. I'm using 23 gauge pin nails, so they're fairly small. They're going to just allow the panels to sit in place while the construction adhesive dries and sets up. Since I'm face nailing these panels, I'm going to make sure I locate the nails where these slats will eventually be able to cover them. That way I'm not having to fill up any pinholes, and it's going to give a cleaner look in the end. Before installing the white oak panel onto the door, I'll go ahead and pre-install the magnetic lock since there is a through bolt that is needed to hold the magnet onto the door. I don't want the bolt cap to be seen, so doing the pre-install will allow the bolt to be covered by the panel. I'll leave a link in the description down below if you're interested in picking up this magnet system for your project. I'm not going over the in-depth install for this video. However, in the future, I'll do a general overview of the entire system, going over pretty much all the wirings and all the components. So leave the questions down below if you have any. Now I can finally mill down all the rift-sawn white oak lumber. I'm going to mill each piece down to slightly less than 3/4 of an inch thick and 1.25 inches wide. This dimension is based off of the hidden door hinge that I'm using and the spacing between each slats. If the slats were thicker, I would need to space them out further apart so that it will allow the door to fully open and not get hung up because the slats were too closely spaced. If you're going to do something like this, I recommend you do a mock-up and test to see if the dimensions will work. It's probably safer to not have such deep slats and go for a more shallow look. There are some pre-made panels where you can achieve a similar look like what I'm going for here. So if the pre-made panels are going to work for your project and your design, definitely go with that. In total, I had to install 98 slats, and honestly, sanding the first 6 sticks by hand was a nightmare. So I enlisted some help. So sanding all that by hand is going to take a really long time. So I'm here at this guy's place. It's Brian. Alright, so this is why I'm here. Brian has a drum sander. I actually sold this sander to Brian about a year ago?
Yeah, about a year ago.
Yeah, so I was planning on upgrading my sander, and now I can't find one because of delays and all the manufacturing. So Brian, can I take this back?
No. Finders keepers.
So we got all of this done in like less than 30 minutes or so, about 30 minutes. So I spent about 30 minutes just sanding down 5 pieces in my shop by hand. So Brian, you're a lifesaver, buddy. Appreciate
Absolutely.
you. With all the slats sanded, I can go ahead and start applying the finish. It would have been easier if I had applied it before installing the panels, but I made it work. I'm using Bona Nordic Seal to finish all the white oak surfaces. It's a typical flooring finish that is extremely heavy duty, so I think for this application, it's going to work really well, especially where our fingers will touch the slats to open the door. It's a film finish similar to polyurethane, so it seals the surface really well. I went with the Nordic Seal because to me, it leaves the white oak looking really natural compared to other finishes available. It's not the easiest finish to apply, so definitely test it out before applying it onto your actual piece. And it does require 2 coats with sanding in between. In my quest to make the wall look as clean and simple as possible, I stumbled upon this hidden outlet, which I thought was really cool. What I'm going to do is make a white oak cap to camouflage the outlet against the white oak wall. I took a piece of Rifson white oak and routed out the backside, and then used a knife to cut out the square, which is where the actual plug pops in and out. I made sure to keep the orientation the same so the wood grain would line up. To install the white cap over the outlet, I'm just using double-sided tape, which makes it easy to pop on and off later on in the future if I do need to do any maintenance. And it works. Finally, I can go ahead and start installing the slats. The critical part is to make sure the first slat is perfectly straight. I'm not relying on my wall because I know for sure it's not plumb or straight at all, being that it is an older house. I'll just use a laser level for safety, and if there is a gap between the slat and the wall, I'll fill it with some colored caulking. I needed to create this notch to go around the existing baseboard, and I'll just tack it into place with a pin nailer. Installing the remainder of the slats along the wall, I used the exact same spacers for each of the slats to make sure that everything is perfectly spaced. For an aesthetic touch, where the shelf is located, I used a 1/2-inch plywood sheet as a spacer to create a reveal around the entire shelf. With the right side done, I can go ahead and start on the door side, following the same steps, except this time, failed miserably at it. No, what the heck? No. How did I cut these wrong?
It's too short.
Yeah.
You okay? It's okay. I know, especially because you did a lot of work. You did all this work, sanded it down. What happened? You missed it? Like, you were off by an inch?
I had a dyslexia moment. So I measured 87, but then when I went to go cut it, I cut it at 78. All 10 of them.
Oh.
That's like, I think it's like $100 with the wood.
Hey, don't put it in money.
Oh man.
Do you have enough slats or no?
I think I have enough slats. Yeah, so, 87. Instead of installing a door pull, I integrated one into the slats. This way we have a place to register our fingers while pulling open the door. I used the router with a round nose bit to create the small channel and sanded everything by hand so that it's nice and smooth. With that detail done, I can go ahead and install the remaining slats. And finally, This hidden door is actually hidden. There you guys have it. It's finally done. We're super happy about this, and we're just absolutely loving all of the features and all the details that went into this build. I know that this project took a long time, and I do thank you guys for following along and asking all the questions. And there's been a lot of common questions that I will do an overview video after this, covering all of your questions. So if you have any other questions, just feel free to leave them down in the comments below. If you haven't checked out the previous videos, definitely check the link out over here. That's going to go over pretty much the entire build. And shout out to Sugasuni for providing all the hardware for this project, as well as Clark's here in Houston for providing a portion of the lumber package. If you like this video, definitely hit that thumbs up. Consider subscribing. If you do want to support my channel, definitely share this video. I hope that it inspired you to hopefully be able to create something for yourself. Until next time, guys, this has been Bao with Design Craft Workshop. See ya.